Hi everyone, welcome to the Befores and Afters podcast. I'm Ian Fales from Befores and Afters. Today on the podcast, something slightly different. I'd started getting a few emails and comments and notes from people asking where particular articles were or podcasts or posts of mine. And what I realized was Befores and Afters has become slightly bigger than it ever had been. And that's because there's now the magazine, this podcast you're listening to, the website articles, video, and of course, lots of postings on social media. So over at beforesandafters.com, I wrote a guide article outlining where all those places were where I post content. I thought I'd follow it up with a podcast which also outlined where you can find all those things. So literally, I'm going to jump in this podcast with where you can catch up on lots of befores and afters content. Here we go. First with the magazine. So the magazine is relatively new. It's up to issue 8 and it is a print magazine that you can hold in your hands. It's available on Amazon. You can find all the back issues at beforesandafters.com/magazine. Issue 8 is thematic, which means it's just on one particular topic, and that is VFX art departments. Going forward, every issue will be on one particular topic, and it's being released monthly. I'm so excited about the magazine. I hope you guys can check it out. If you go to that link, beforesandafters.com/magazine, there's actually a special speed issue that's out there that you can buy. And there's some notebooks that you can actually buy, which you can use at home or on set. So that's the magazine. Okay, the podcast. You're listening to it right now. Basically, the best way to find the podcast is at beforesandafters.com/category/podcasts. But you can also subscribe, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. I'm really excited about using the podcast to go more in depth on particular films or topics or issues like AI and machine learning and virtual production. And I'm always interested in suggestions for people I can interview for the podcast. Another podcast that I do have is VFX Notes. Now, this is something done with the amazing Hugo Guerra from Hugo's Desk. We do this as a video podcast available at the Hugo's Desk YouTube channel. But it's also something I release as audio because I think that's a great way to listen while you're working or listen on the road or on the train. That's the VFX Notes podcast. Search for that on the website and also at Hugo's Desk too. Okay, the website. It sounds obvious, but beforesandafters.com is obviously the central repository for visual effects articles by me. You'll also find links here to the magazine and podcasts. On the website right now, there's some fun articles there that you should check out. 25 years of Deep Rising and Blur Studios half-digested Billy shots. A really cool breakdown of the volumetric capture crowd tech behind I Want to Dance With Somebody. And also a super in-depth piece on the visual effects of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio by MPC with lots of befores and afters. So make sure you check out beforesandafters.com to see the latest stories that I've published as web articles, plus links to everything else. What about video? Well, Befores and Afters has a huge presence on YouTube. If you search for Befores and Afters on YouTube, you'll see that there's a ton of behind-the-scenes videos, exclusive breakdowns, some videos I've edited together myself, and a lot of video to come this year. That's actually one of the big announcements I'll be making in a couple of months, which is some much improved video content from Befores and Afters. Always, of course, always available from the front page of the website. Then there's social media. Well, I'd really like you to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where I'm the username BeforesMag. It's where I do post links to lots of the articles, podcasts, and magazine. But also there's such great discussion there about visual effects and animation in general. There's actually quite a lot of great people in the industry who are on social media. I'm going to call out two of them right now, Todd Vasari and Hugo Guerra. If you follow them on Twitter, you're going to be watching and listening and reading lots of engaging visual effects content. The other social media to look out for is LinkedIn, where I'm listed as Ian Fales, also where I put links, and there's some great discussion there too. A way of supporting Befores and Afters is via the Patreon. If you head to patreon.com/befores and afters, you can see the different tiers there, where you can be a member of the Patreon and support Befores and Afters to keep creating independent visual effects journalism. Being a member gets you early access to podcasts, bonus articles, bonus imagery, and a link right now to a special live streaming video that I'll be doing this week actually. So make sure you sign up to the Patreon to get access to that. The final thing I want to let you know about is the Befores and Afters newsletter. This is free to sign up to. Head to beforesandafters.com/newsletter. You'll get it weekly in your inbox. It includes heads up on what's coming on the site, a summary of what's been big during the week, and it also includes some messages from sponsors. I think the newsletter is a really great way, if you can't visit the website every day, to find out what's been going on. Well, that's Befores and Afters in a nutshell. I wanted to give you some pointers to where to go to find the articles and podcasts and social media posts. Of course, if you want to find me, I live in Sydney, Australia, but I'm often traveling around the world to different VFX events. Just came back from LA for the Bake Off. Going to be heading soon to Stuttgart for FMX. Then SIGGRAPH in LA, the View conference in Italy, and SIGGRAPH Asia is in Sydney this year. So hopefully to see you all down under for that. Meanwhile, thanks for listening to this podcast and hope you enjoy seeing what's available at Befores and Afters. Head to beforesandafters.com to find everything. Thanks everyone.